right, so we should be good to go. Okay. Okay. So begin with an upright seat, having your feet firmly planted, your spine in an upright neutral position, and then close your eyes. We're going to begin with a spinal awareness practice. So we're going to start at the top, actually a little above the top, at the back of the skull. So feel, either just imagining in your mind or in actuality, the roundness of the back of your skull and how it moves out behind you. So in a kyphotic curve, as we call it, it goes, the direction is behind your body. And then from that curve, we move to the curve of the neck. And the neck has what is called a lordotic curve, a gentle curve that goes toward the front of your body. So just imagine that. And can you picture that that curve of the neck gets underneath the weight of the skull and helps to support the skull? And then we'll move down the spine to the upper and middle back. And that area has a slight curve back behind you, again, a kyphotic curve, which balances out the weight of the rib cage on the front. And then we're going to continue traveling down the spine now to your low back, your lumbar spine, which has a lordotic curve, a gentle curve toward the front of the body. So that curve gets underneath that weight and broad area of the rib cage and helps to balance it. And then continuing down a little further towards the sacrum, which is the fused bottom part of the spine that curves around behind you and ends in your tailbone. And that has a kyphotic curve. It goes back behind you. And it helps balance the weight of the pelvic girdle. So we have these snaky curves all the way from the top of the spine to the bottom of the spine. And those curves are much more efficient for weight bearing than a straight spine. Right? We have them so that they can act as shock absorbers, and they provide structural support and stability for the whole body. So just imagine those curves. And then with your next breath in, see if you can pull the curves out of your spine, as if you had a like a curly hair, and you're pulling it from end to end, and you're straightening out the curves, straightening out the curves in the spine. It's called axial extension. And it takes a lot of effort and a lot of energy, but it can be useful. It can be a useful practice. And then ever so gently let the curves settle back in without exaggerating one curve too much. And go ahead and open your eyes. And open your arms out wide. Stretch them up, stretch them back, stretch out the chest muscles. And then give yourself a hug. Wrap your arms around your body. Drop your head. Inhale, open it up again. Open the chest, even lift the breastbone up towards the ceiling. Wrap it up again, opposite arm on top. Inhaling, open up. Exhaling, curl. Inhaling, open up. Exhale and curl. One more time, open up and curl. And then just roll up and sit tall. Soften your shoulders away from your ears. Start to roll your head around, making some big circles. And go the opposite direction. Come right back up to center. Begin to roll the shoulders back. And roll your shoulders forward. Shrug them up by your ears, squeeze, and then just release. Drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. And then back up to center. Drop your chin towards the notch between your collarbones. And back to center. Left ear to left shoulder. Excuse me. And back to center. Right arm, reach it all the way up. Begin to reach it back behind you as far as you can. And then swing it down and bring it back to your lap. Left arm, reach it up. Draw it back and swing it down and release it back to your thigh. Now both arms reach up overhead. Take a side bend to the right and grab onto your chair for some support. And stay here and breathe for a moment. If you tend to round forward, can you instead see about drawing the left shoulder back in space so you're really in a side bend without any forward bending going on? And come on up, take a breath, lift up, lengthen, find that axial extension, that pulling the curves out of your spine, and then side bend to the left. And back to center. Once again, extending the sides of the waist get long, the spine gets straight. Take a twist to the right. And then as you breathe in, think about axially extending as you breathe, straightening up through your spine. And as you breathe out, relax the curves of the spine and twist a little bit deeper. And come back through center. Lift the arms, reach up, deep breath, twist left. Same thing here. As you breathe in, extend up through the spine. As you breathe out, soften, and maybe the twist moves a little bit deeper. And unwind back to center. Hands on your thighs. Roll your shoulders up towards your ears and reach them back behind you and let them settle down as if you're moving your shoulder blades down your back. Stay there, lift up through the breastbone, to the center of the chest. Imagine it lifting towards the ceiling. And then relax back to neutral. Begin to tip your head forward. Let your shoulders round forward. Drop your head, a gentle forward bend. You don't have to go too far. Just let it be a gentle dropping forward through the middle and upper back. And then right back to center. Reach your arms out in front of you. Now, imagine that someone is holding your hands or your wrists, and they're going to pull your arms forward, but you're not going to let your body go with it, okay? So your body's going to stay right over your hips. Reach forward through your arms, broaden your upper back. So imagine that your shoulder blades are wrapping around towards the front of your body. Okay, now pull your shoulder blades back so that they squeeze together as if they're reaching towards your spine. You're still upright through your torso, and then relax. Once again, arms forward, shoulder blades broadening. They're peeling apart from each other, moving away from the midline and towards the front of the body. That's protraction. Retract your shoulder blades. So just from the shoulder blades, they move back, they squeeze together on the back of the body, moving towards your spine, and then relax, release. Now lift your arms up overhead. Imagine that same action of your shoulder blades. So they're going to move forward and then they're going to reach up. So imagine that they're following the arm bone all the way up your arms as your upper back broadens. And then release that, relax. Now lift your arms up and then, go easy with this. Imagine dragging your shoulder blades down your back and squeezing them together. That might feel kind of pinchy. If it bothers you, don't do it so hard. This is actually not an action I would recommend very often. And then relax and release. The reason that I'm having you do it is because it's what we're told to do often in exercise classes and yoga classes. We're taught to lift our arms and draw our shoulders down the back. But I don't think that's very good advice because I think it causes impingement in the shoulders. So instead, let's lift the arms again. Go ahead and lift up. Let the shoulder blades follow the arm bones without squeezing your shoulders by your ears. So we're not moving this part of the shoulder. We're just letting the shoulder blades swim up the arms. And that hopefully feels kind of loose and free. You can move it around, just see how it feels. This is how the shoulder blades are supposed to move. They're supposed to follow the arms. And then let it go. All right, rotate your wrists around. Just make some circles, gentle fists, nothing too grippy. Go the other direction. And then open your fingers wide. Make fists. Again, open wide. And make fists. And then tent your fingers together in front of your chest or your stomach, wherever it's comfortable to hold them. And detach your pinkies. So pinky fingers come apart and then back together. And then ring fingers come apart and back together. Middle fingers apart and back together. Index fingers apart, back together. And then thumbs apart and back together. And then imagine that you have a squishy ball between your palms and you're just gonna kind of push it and let it spring open. So you're just pushing the fingertips and then the palms together and apart. Good, now palms together. Keep them together as you reach the bottom, the base of the palms and the wrists towards the ground, and lift the elbows up a little bit. So it's a tiny little movement. We're just stretching the hands and the wrists gently. And roll over your wrists. So now your fingers are facing the ground and the backs of the hands are together. Now imagine the wrists moving up and the elbows moving down. And then just roll over as if you are rolling over the cuffs of a long sleeve shirt. Just rolling around the backs of the hands, fronts of the hands. Go the other direction. Good. Shake it out. Arms out in front of you again. Protract your shoulder blades. So arms reaching forward, upper back broadening. Now cross right arm over left and hold your shoulders. Good. So depending on how much mobility you have, you might crawl your hands back even further, and you might even be able to feel the blades, the shoulder blades. If you can't, don't worry about it. But if that's accessible, you might want to try that. And then again, drop your head towards your chest and broaden your upper back. So you're just sort of peeling your back open. Okay, let that go. Release your arms, give them a shake. Shrug your shoulders a couple times. And then make sure you're sitting fairly far forward on your chair so you have room behind your back. Turn your palms to face behind you. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, right? So you're drawing them together on your back, retracting the shoulder blades, and then bring your hands behind you. And if you can clasp your hands, do so. If you want to just grab your forearms, that's okay too. Do whatever you can. Squeezing the shoulder blades together on the back. Let that go. Give it a wiggle. Once again, arms out in front of you. Protract. This time, left arm over right, and reach for your shoulders. And again, if you can kind of wiggle your arms back further, fine. If you can't, that's okay. Drop your head, broaden the upper back. And come back up, release your arms, shrug your shoulders a couple times. Palms facing behind you. Press them back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Maybe you clasp, maybe you reach for your elbows or your forearms or your wrists. And squeeze as if you're trying to squeeze a pencil between your shoulder blades and hold it there. And then let it go, wiggle it out. Hands towards your knees, slide your hands back towards the crease of your hips. As you do so, we're going to lift the breastbone and roll the shoulders down and back. Then press your hands forward to your knees and scoop your chest back in space so you're rounding your back towards the back of the chair. Hands back towards hip creases, shoulders roll back, chest lifts. Press the arms out straight and reach your back behind you. One more time. Lift it up, breastbone lifts. Press it out, spine reaches back. And right back up to center. Now keep that idea of axial extension in your mind. So that's the one where you're pulling the curves out of the spine and you're trying to make a straight line from tail to crown. Keep that, tip forward from the crease of your hips. So you're just moving at the hip joints, not at the waist. Your spine remains straight and long as you tip forward. Now, imagine the breastbone lifting up and the shoulders drawing back. So I'm going to turn sideways so it's a little more visible. So we're tipping forward, keeping that long extended spine, and then we're lifting up from the breastbone and the shoulders draw back. So the movement comes in the middle and upper back, not down here in my low back. Little back bend in the middle and upper back. And then press up and sit tall. Once again, long extended spine, tip forward from the hips, and then breastbone lifts and shoulders roll back. And come back up and just relax, let your spine settle into its natural neutral curvature. Okay, so now this position that we were just practicing is sort of like a cobra, what we would consider a little cobra pose in yoga. Now we're going to do what's called camel pose. It's a little bit deeper back bend, but very similar idea. So once again, I'm going to turn sideways. I'm going to turn my chair as well. I'm going to sit forward. So the idea with camel pose is to keep the low back long and bring the back bend up into the middle and upper back. So Hold the sides of your chair for support. Find that axial extension, so drawing the curves out of the spine, making it nice and straight. And then think tailbone down towards the ground as the breastbone lifts. So similar shape to what we were doing before, but without the forward tilt, right? So again, think tailbone down, long, low back, upper back lifts, breastbone lifts. Again, tailbone down, breastbone lifts. And you can go a little bit more, or you can stop right where you are. The minute you feel any stuff in your low back, you've gone too far, or you've lost the idea of that long low back, all right? So we don't want to get this in the low back. I'm showing you what we don't want here, where I'm tipping my pelvis forward and drawing it into my low back. That's not terribly comfortable. We want to get that long and bring the back bend up higher. You're spreading out the back bending action throughout the length of the spine rather than having it dump into one area. Sit back, relax. I'm going to try that one more time. So sit forward, neutral curves of the spine, and then axial extension. Pull the curves out, tailbone down, breastbone lifting. Think lengthen and lift, and lengthen and lift. You could even imagine that you're picking your rib cage up off of your hips so that you're getting long in the sides of the waist, and the lift is coming right from the top of the chest, lifting up as if your breastbone were connected to the ceiling. And then relax, sit back, and let it go. Okay, sit forward, lift your right knee up, clasp your hands around your shin. Try to sit tall. So rather than sort of slumping back as you do this, can you try to sit tall and bring the knee up towards your chest? It doesn't matter if it doesn't get right up, you know, to your belly or to your chest. Just do your best. It might be out here. That's okay. Just pull it in as far as you can. Sit tall. Hold it in, extend the left leg out, and point the toes. Point the toes of the left leg. You could point the right toes as well if you wanted. And then let that go. Lift your left knee, hold it in, extend the right leg and point your toes. And let that go. Lift the right leg again, hold it in. This time, round your spine. Bring your nose or your forehead towards your knee in that direction. Doesn't matter if they touch. They might not touch. Probably won't. And then let that go. Lift the left leg, curl it in, round your spine. Flex the spine. And let that go. Come on up to stand. Come behind your chair. Hands to the back of the chair. Weight shifts into your right foot and step your left leg back about a foot or a little more. Bend your right knee. You're pressing down through the outer edge and the heel of your left foot. The right knee is bent. Try not to lean forward, but rather have the shoulders directly over your hips. Nice, upright, neutral spine. So you can see there's some curve in the spine here, little lordotic curve, little kyphotic curve up here, natural curvature of the spine. Now, step the left leg back a little further and pick your heel up off the ground. So now you're on the ball of your foot. You might bend a little bit deeper now into the right leg. Again, try to stay upright rather than tipping forward. Shoulders over hips. This will bring your spine into a little bit more extension, a little bit more of a back bend. And if you want, you could think even here of lengthening the low back and lifting the middle and upper back. If that's comfortable for you, you can take a little more back bend. And then step forward and relax. Shift your weight to your left foot and step your right leg back a foot or a little more. Plant the foot on the ground, bend your left knee. Again, trying not to tip forward, stay upright. And see if you can identify those neutral curves in your spine as you're standing here. You might even just, if you feel stable with your hands on the chair, you might close your eyes so that you can really concentrate on feeling the curves in your spine. The back of the skull, the neck curving forward, upper and middle back slightly back behind you, low back slightly in and under, and then the back of your pelvis, the sacrum, curving slightly behind you. Now turn the right heel up, step it back just a little further, not too much. Bend the left knee a titch deeper. And you can stay here with this neutral curvature, or you could find a little more back bend. But again, we don't want to dump it into the low back. So you want to think lengthening of the low back and a lift of the middle and upper back. Pick your rib cage up off of your hips. And step forward and stand tall. Safe back bending means spreading out the curve, right? It means not putting too much in the low back. That's the really mobile part of the back. We want to de-intensify the back bend there and move it into places that aren't as bendy. Okay, so once again, shift your weight to your right foot and step your left foot back, bending your right knee. Now, tip forward. Push your hands into the back of the chair, straighten your right leg as you lift your left leg off the ground. Supported warrior three. So it might be a little lift. If you want to challenge the musculature of the back line of your body, lift that leg a little higher. Maybe you bend the front knee a bit to do that. Working the hamstrings, the gluteal muscles, and the back. And step forward, stand up. Shift your weight to your left foot, step the right foot back, bend the front knee, bend the left knee. Shift your weight forward, tipping forward over the back of the chair. Firm pressure through your hands. Make sure you're nice and stable as you press off and lift the back leg. Again, you can definitely keep a little bend in that front knee if the hamstrings are a little tight to lift the back leg higher. Step forward and stand up. Just pause, take a couple of breaths. Okay, once again, weight shifts to the right foot. The left foot steps back, keep the heel lifted. Tip your body forward, lift off. Left leg lifts, right leg is grounded. Now see if you can roll around the right hip socket to turn your torso to the left. And then turn to face down with the chair again. So the only thing that's moving is the right thigh bone in the hip socket. Everything else is just moving through space. Step forward, stand tall. Okay, weight in the left foot, right foot steps back, tip forward, lift off. Make sure you're stable through your arms. We're gonna roll the left hip around the left thigh bone, rolling the body to face the right. And roll it back down, face the ground, roll it open, and roll it back to neutral. Step forward and stand up. Good, take a break. Nice deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Okay, now widen your feet out left and right, wider than the chair legs. Turn your heels in slightly and your toes out slightly, and bend your knees. So you're in what we call a goddess pose. You'll often see a couple of the Indian goddesses take this posture, this wide-legged squat. And then maybe shift your weight side to side. Come back to center, straighten your legs, take a breath. And once again, squat, knees open, hips sinking down. Lift your right heel off the ground and put it down. Lift your left heel off the ground and put it down. Straighten your legs. Bend your knees. Lift your left heel. Keep it lifted. Lift your right heel. Put both heels down and straighten your legs. And then walk your legs back together and come back to sit. Now, same shape, but without so much work because we're sitting now. So we're going to work a different part of the body. Now we're going to work the waist. Take your fingertips to your shoulders and sit tall. So shoulders directly over hips. Tip over towards the right, but don't let your arm touch your leg. Hover in space. And then come back up. Tip to the left, hovering in space. And come back up. Once again, tip. And come back up. And tip over. And come back up. Move your legs back together. Take a little rest. And then once again, widen your legs. They don't need to move as wide this time, just a little bit of width. Once again, fingertips to shoulders, sitting up nice and tall. Twist your body to the right, but resist with your left leg. So don't let your leg follow. Let this leg stay right where it is as you twist your torso. So you're gonna have to really work the muscles of the waist to create the twist. And move back to center. Same thing other side. Keep that right leg firm. Don't let it move to the left. Twist. And back to center. Once again, twist right, resist with the left leg. Come back to center. Twist left, don't move the right leg. And back to center and relax. We're going to combine those two actions. Fingertips to shoulders, feet just a little bit wide. Twist to the right. Reach the left elbow toward the right knee, but hover. And then twist back to center. Twist left. Reach forward, but hover over the knee. Don't touch down. And lift up back to center. One more time each side. Reach and back up and reach and back up. Relax. A little pause, a little break. One more exercise for the core of the body. Fingertips to shoulders, legs a little bit wide. This time, we're going to add the leg lifting towards the belly button and the elbow coming towards the midline. So we're going to try to get the right knee and the left elbow to meet right here in the middle of the body. So take a deep breath. and curl them together. Open up, opposite side, curl them together at the middle of the body. Open up and curl, and open, and curl, and open. Relax, sit back in your chair, give your legs a little kick, a little flutter. And then extend your right leg, out in front of you with the heel on the ground. Hold the sides of the chair for support. Try tipping forward just from the crease of the hips. So as we've been talking about, for the most of the class today, we're looking for axial extension today for these forward bends. So extending up, crown to tail, tipping forward just from the crease of the hips and keeping the spine long. See if you can do that. You can hold the sides of the chair for support so that we're keeping that long extended spine as we tip forward rather than rounding forward. Sometimes we round forward in forward bends. Today, we're keeping a long straight spine and moving just from the hip crease. Reach forward over that extended leg. And come back up. Extend out through the left leg. Same thing, tip forward from the crease of the hips, long extended spine. You can hold the chair for support. And come back up. Cross right ankle over left knee. See if you can allow the right knee to heavy down towards the ground. And unwind that, and other side. And let it go. Sweep your arms up overhead, take a deep breath. Connect your palms above your head, draw them down through the center of the body as you breathe out. Inhale out and up. Palms together, exhale down through center. Inhale out and up. Exhale, palms through center. One last time. Reach it up. Bring it down through the center of the body. And release your hands to your lap. Before we settle into final resting pose, we'll end with Nadi Shodhana, which is alternate nostril breath. So with your right hand, so I'm going to be doing the opposite from you. I'm using my right, you use your right. Just bring your hand in front of your face. Take a deep breath in through both nostrils. Exhale through both nostrils. With your index finger, close your left nostril gently. Inhale right. Close off your right with your thumb gently. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Continue. Always inhale on the same side. And you switch on the exhale. Be gentle with the closure. You don't want to sort of push your nose from side to side. You don't want to deviate the septum. Just very gentle pressure. Keep it going. It doesn't even need to be a full closure. Could be just a slight closure. A few more times each side. The next time that you end by exhaling out the right, then release your hand. When you're finished, Sit all the way back in your chair. Let your back relax. Let your shoulders soften. Close your eyes. Breathe naturally. Notice what arises. Notice whether or not there has been a shift in how your body feels, how your breath feels, even your nose, or the state of your mind, your thoughts. Perhaps some of the mind chatter, in Sanskrit, the chitta vritti, the mind fluctuations. Maybe some of that is a little quieter now. Keep your attention focused on your breath. On being aware. Yoga's chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of the mind stuff. And the writings teach us tadadrashtu svarupe nirodha, that when that happens, that we are then residing in our own true nature. That when we stop listening to the chatter and can be still, then we can truly reside and be ourselves, be in ourselves. Take a deep breath and let it go. Sit tall, shoulders over hips, spine neutral, natural curvatures of the spine. And bring your hands to heart center. Take one more full breath in and let it go. I bow to you in thanks for joining me, allowing me to lead you. Namaste.